Okay, here we go. Let's get this done before we run out of storage space. So Daddy in Columbus, on a girls' night out weekend, got me the guitar at the store. I remember we went down. I wish I knew the store for sure. It was in Columbus. And I got to meet another transsexual female. So that was awesome. We stayed in her apartment and I thought, wow, it was kind of like a condo-ish. And I really liked it. It was an upscale neighborhood and stuff. I thought that was really cool. She was very pretty. Her furniture was really nice. You can see some of it in the pictures. I was kind of goofy because I was in a lot of pain, wearing kind of the same outfit that was later a picture submitted from that day that I received that guitar. Daddy took pictures. In my maroon, which is actually a dress, but I used to like wear dresses as shirts, long shirts, for reasons. And it felt classy to do that, so it was very delicate in a way. That is one of the pictures that was sent to Elvis Enterprise to be in the writing. So that felt really good because I really loved Elvis a lot. And I still do, but that's a long story on itself. But I really, really was obsessed. He came to me in a dream, and I had the opportunity to share my story. What do you think? And after a long pain and suffering of not having a guitar to play, you see, I thought mentally I had to sell what I had because I was losing everything anyway. And I'm trying to keep everything afloat with my priorities. I'm not playing anyway. I'm kind of investing a lot of time with my transition. I didn't really understand that I should have kept a guitar and I should have continued to sing, and when I was living on the road as an escort, I should have written and played music. Finding my voice, finding myself, maybe sharing my talent, going to writer nights. There's a lot of things that I could have done very different. If you're out on the road and you love to play guitar and you gave it up for a season, that's probably good. It was for me, it was fantastic. I'm glad that it's in the past now. But know that I know this. I have learned keep an acoustic guitar with me is my choice. I love acoustic guitars. Keep it with me all the time. Never let go of that. If it's one thing, no matter what I'm going through, I can quick grab it and I can sing one of my songs, and it brings me directly, immediately in a calming and closer to God. Peace, love, happiness. Fulfillment in the moment. It's when you stop it and you kind of see reality. I might need to quick sing another song. So I brought that guitar here, and that's when I really started writing, and I was sending him the lyrics and the content for this reason. I wrote It's Hard to Be an Escort Here. That's what it used to be called. Now it's called New Girl in Town. I tried to soften up the title, okay? Some people don't approve of escorts, but until they hear the song, they laugh. My ultimate goal was to spill out my heart over a tragedy, and I've learned to turn it into a sense of humor. I wanted to be able to laugh at this situation rather than cry. And Daddy really loved that song a lot. He would laugh all the time. And the two songs he would ask me to play for everyone when we had girls' night in, we had a lot of dinners. Okay? And for all of you that know, we used to have dinners where people would come over to the house, and some people played guitar and sang, and some people told jokes, and he would ask me to go get the guitar and sing the escort song in Nebraska. Those were his two favorite. He loved those songs. I remember I gave him the lyrics. Was it I am thankful or you are holy? And I remember he offered them to a church down the road from where he lived in Beaver Creek. I don't know if they ever sang this song, but I do remember it was either I am thankful, which I think I actually wrote. So it would have to be you are holy. We'll have to look on the dates. I have the dates written down when I wrote these songs. It might have been you are holy. You're my father, you're my brother, you're my sister, you're my mother. To me, there's no other like a solid rock. My foundation, the world paves the direction, or the words pave direction for every nation. Lead me not into temptation, engraved within my heart a revelation. Can you do that? From what I remember, he was still living at Beaver Creek at that time. There was a church down the road, off Northfield. What was it? Right down the road from his house, at the T sign where I did the video for Washing Me Clean. And there was something in that area, and I'm almost positive he pointed out that's where I gave your lyrics to and told him to sing it. What Daddy doesn't realize is, as a songwriter, it's nice when people sing your songs, but also, depending on how it's being used, we also appreciate what they call royalty checks for writing and publishing the song, whether it's a church or not. A lot of people don't like that attitude. Well, as a songwriter, a recording artist, it's for your livelihood. And it's important that you remain firm. People who do it for fun should not be treated, or for spiritual healing, shouldn't be treated any different than somebody who supposedly does it as a business or is signed to mainstream, if you will. They're no better, they're no different. In many situations, they might not be of either or. Maybe. Calm down. So, anyway, I was not mad. I don't know if somebody did or not, but I remember trying to hint at him, be careful, I'm showing you that with your financial assistance that you are giving me and a home you're providing, I'm showing you that I'm trying to stay true to what I'm doing on the bridge. Do not keep giving the songs out. It's between you and me. And can I tell you, in the future, I've realized if you want to write something and post it online, which I had a tendency to do, you want to write something and give it to someone, know that it's published anyway the second that you hit submit. And it's copyrighted once it's in a tangible form and even written on a paper, but it's best to have them time-stamped with your computer. And because of electronic harassment and the increase of acknowledgement of what it is, you're best to burn them to a disk. Because if you put them on a hard drive, it could end up disappearing. Could. Especially if they know the file name. Also, and that's from via satellite. Good. Let's hope they're not that freaking cruel. Also, know this, if you just store your lyrics or your music or anything else in something like Dropbox, know this, whether you believe it or not, people have access to your files. Don't think, like on Google Maps, that people don't have live feed watching you very closely. And whether Dropbox or Google or anyone else like that is aware of it, this person may be seeing exactly what your passwords are that way, or they may tap into your computer, or they may tap in simply to the account, or maybe Dropbox, Google, and the people who run these softwares online are extremely highly corrupted. Maybe. We don't know that for sure until we prove it. be aware. And my suggestion, burn things to disk. Do things the old-fashioned way. Keep them locked up, keep them safe. We have things to talk about there because I've even been missing my Pennsylvania driver's license recently, which I had at my apartment. And I just looked at it now within a year ago, and probably less, and it's no longer in my apartment. How did that happen? You think I got up in the middle of the night, threw it away? We have stories to talk about in Huber Heights coming up. So it was very important to me. I knew that Daddy was sharing the content I was sharing with him. I tried to accept the fact this is the way it is. I'm a writer. I can keep writing, and maybe it will fish line somebody who's of interest, knows I'm a writer, and maybe things will come about. Maybe I'll have relationships with people in the music industry, or simply that are passionate about music and would say, have you ever thought? But let me tell you something. After these years, I can tell you it doesn't work like that. Sometimes, for some people, but not all times. I got to meet some people because of it. Paul David Bach was one of them here in Ohio, who was absolutely outstanding songwriter and recording artist and live performer, especially when he's with his band. Phenomenal. We'll talk about that in the near future. Right now we're staying focused on Kathrine. So I shared with you what ended up happening here. Okay? I'm grateful for this time to be able to share with you. Let's see, what else did I miss here? Kathrine's. I talked about that I was having dreams. Okay, there was numerous dreams. Nebraska did not come to me in the song's entirety. I heard a chorus line that sounded similar, but it ended up manifesting, and it's going to manifest into something uniquely close but much different. And you know, the song is about my life transition. This journey starts off in New York. I was heading towards LA. It broke down in Nebraska. I didn't want to use Dayton, Ohio. I didn't want to use Dayton, Ohio. Okay. These parts of the journey of the verses did not come to me in a dream. A small tidbit of a chorus. And what's unique is since I've been on the streets playing, number one, the state name of the title of the song is much different. And secondly, I play them different. I hear several versions of the song, actually. So I'm excited and looking forward to sharing Nebraska. That was one of Daddy's very favorite songs. So I already know that it has been out there, and he might have been asking people to sing the songs. If he gets this, I would appreciate, how about Tracilyn sing the songs, as far as many things go. However, once the songs are recorded, fully produced, then we get it out there. And now, get ready, because lots of people will be singing the songs, especially Nebraska, and New Girl in Town, and a lot of other ones. Memphis Blues was written here. I wanted to do a slow, intimate version of I'm Heading Down to Memphis, which led me into Sun Studios and stuff, where I did my ritual. Took samples of dirt. I wrote a song about it called Gypsy Sworn, but that wasn't completed until 2012, that song. As I write about my life journey, little tidbits, pixels in, some songs come very quickly, meaning I write sometimes in 45 minutes or 45 seconds. I wrote Dayton, Ohio, USA here. It was inspired to me because I did research online, and I researched through Wikipedia, other things that I could find with history. I watched some videos, Kathrine left me know what videos to watch. I wanted to really learn the history of Dayton, Ohio. Now, why is that? I was seeking out inspiration. Why do you think I'm here? Why here and not Kansas? Why here and not Chicago? Why here and not Nashville? Why here and thank goodness I'm not in Lebanon, Pennsylvania at this time. Not because I hate it. It was time for my mind to relieve itself. Thinking time. This is like my thinking tank out here. So I investigated. It took me exactly 6 days to write Dayton, Ohio, USA. And I bugged Kathrine if she would read the lyrics. I think I sang it to her too. And I asked her if it seemed to be in alignment to please review the lyrics. Is it in alignment with what she was raised to believe is the truth? Now, why did I do that? Because I already knew that you can't trust everything that's posted online. Just because it's there doesn't mean it's real. Okay? And just because we're told something doesn't mean it's the absolute truth. Always remember that. Let us not fall in agreement with something we read and be convinced that, well, I read it. I read it right here. It's what it says. The only book that I know, or any writings that I know, seriously from my own experience, that I would be more skeptical to saying it is the absolute truth, but I gotta say in my human nature, who knows, would be the Holy Bible. And we don't really know that either. But we learn as we learn. As we perceive truth and we fall into agreement with it, so our life becomes. Always remember that. My suggestion to you would don't fall in agreement with everything I talk about. Don't fall in agreement with I fell in agreement with people like Joyce Meyers, Joel Osteen's, and televangelists on television and on the internet. I applied their teachings to my life, and can I tell you, I want to work through this to see all the good, because I was really hoping to receive results that were beneficial in an efficient manner. Now, you got to hear me out with this, because as I continue on, I'm going to be sharing connecting points of where I feel that I should have received something that was from somebody else, whatever that was. A voucher, for instance, in a mental institution. Instead of being dependent on someone else immediately, it was assigned by psychological evaluation by people who were licensed in the state of Pennsylvania to identify the fact that I was suffering from major depression. I had a legal mental disability which entitled me to getting assistance. With that being said, I should have gotten a hotel or stayed at the hotel until my needs could be met. Okay, government? Does it make sense, maybe? I hope it does. I almost died several times because that was not there, according to what they told me. I needed immediate action. No delay. Maybe the younger government coming in will give more of a shit for people who are in need. Let's hope. Maybe Tracilyn should run for government, you know, for life. You know, I'm a recording artist. I'm a lover. You know, let that for the tough bones and the tough skins of the earth. You know, people who like the good fight. You know, I don't like to fight. Maybe I'll sing with somebody who likes to fight. You know, a governor or something, you know, someday, when I'm mentally ready, you know, and they are too. Maybe they're a psychopath right now, but they're a governor to come, or a mayor to come, or a president to come. And Tracilyn gets the opportunity to sing beside them. Let them do the talking, I'll do the singing. Yeah. Have you ever wanted to perform, like at the governor's mansion, or mayor's facility, or like at DC, Washington White House. Did you ever want to do that? For whatever reason. Maybe from images you saw of other people doing it, videos. Here's the thing, check this out. Memorable moments was when Daddy came over, and I got to admit, with Kathrine, I explained to her, I don't know what to do, but I don't want to go live with anybody. I would like to get my needs met, maybe stay with a girl, meaning a transsexual female. Split the bills or something. She was going through her own thing, and it wasn't fair for me to torment her about that, but I did. I was very depressed, but we enjoyed coffee, talks in the kitchen, lots of conversation in the kitchen. I love kitchen conversation. I used to tell her that. I tried to give her a space. I used to like standing in the archway while she got her makeup on and got herself ready. We went to the museum together here in Dayton. We went to a few places together, actually. Church. I loved that she loved God. She was very patient with me, and I was a very tormented individual. Kathrine, I'm sorry. I wish I could have been better at that time. I would really love to love you, and I hope you're safe and you're doing wonderfully. I heard that she went back to Alaska. And all I could think is, why would somebody want to move to Alaska? It's cold up there. I am a sunny bunny. I want sand between the butt, and I like being by the waterway and soaking up the sun. The blue skies, really. I don't want to just hang out on the beach. What I'm realizing in the end is if my needs are met, I have transportation, especially here in Ohio. You gotta have transportation to get around. I guess it depends on the life you desire. How's that? Maybe I'm wrong. I overstep my bounds by saying that. You don't need it, but for me, I desire it very much. It helps me out very much. So it's my thought that I need transportation. What about you? You live in Ohio and you say, don't need it. I appreciate it. I like to have transportation and the means to travel. I love the lakes. I love the rivers here, or the river. Cincinnati, Columbus, getting out, because I like big cities. I like driving around the state of Ohio very much, and it would be nice if I had more of the means to be able to do it more often, because there's a lot of things that I like that are dispersed throughout the state, and it requires travel time, which can be challenging at times. I asked her if it was okay to write the song about her life. 5 good reasons. I was here for a few months. Was it heading on March or April, May? I know I was on Tracilyn Michael Facebook. And can I tell you something with that? When I came out here, I realized I have got to network online. And can I tell you, from being self-employed, I invested a lot of time online in promotions and office work in general, bookings. And that was a part of life that I was hoping to rid of. I wanted to really live and do things. I still wanted to do writing songs, performing, but all the office work, I don't know. No, can I take a break off from that? Then I became, what, an escort, and an escort I had to do promotions as well. They were a little bit different. I'd like to explain the difference in that. In other words, I didn't have to reach out. I actually, when you promote properly, in my opinion, please don't be offended when I say that, when you promote properly, you will receive. Meaning they will come. They will come. Which is much different than the approach that I was in the music industry at the time, which I'm realizing ways that I can do things much different by observing my own life and not the lives of others. So I started Tracilyn Michael on Facebook, MySpace, and a couple other places. And can I tell you, for you who know, up, down, my social media, I'd put pictures out, take them down. Do you know why? Because I wanted to get out of the escorting business, adult entertainment, and all I pretty much had of myself since I came out as a transsexual female were adult pictures. Daddy was trying to change that for me. The problem is, I was a bastard, and almost very rare would pictures come up that were taken of me that I wanted to use for social media. What was I looking for? What was wrong with me? I don't know, maybe Satan was inside my thoughts or somebody was toying with them, trying to get me to keep constantly taking things down, but the spirit of who I am wanted to keep putting things up. What do you think of that? Is that possible? Could somebody else be toying with my thoughts, and every time I wanted to move forward in my ministerial desires, that they would consistently be trying to program my mind to take things down? Because I had a lot of up and a lot of down, and if you see now, I don't take things down, but Facebook does. Facebook changes the views on your videos. They might tell you it's by accident. I'm here to tell you it's done intentionally, on purpose. And in my opinion, something legal action needs to be put against Facebook. They're toying with people's lives by blocking them. I had friends on my Facebook list removed, not by them, by Facebook. This is a targeting approach of trying to keep people oppressed, disconnected. The same thing happens on YouTube. Every time I posted something that I really liked, it was down, and I knew darn well there's no reason why this should not be warmly accepted as content that is okay to promote through YouTube. You're looking at somebody who once had 30-some or 20-some thousand, in a high 20-some thousand of YouTube subscribers, which I believe most of them might have either been real because it was wide open to the general public, or it was fake by people bombarding it. I believe I was used as a resource in the music industry by a lot of people. I'm convinced. And you heard my life story, so I don't want to talk about that. I'm tired of feeding into that. There's a lot of people in mainstream that, whether they know directly or indirectly, in my opinion, are assholes. And they take content and invade the privacies of homes, whether directly or indirectly, of independent recording artists, especially within the transsexual community, and I believe it's because of the childlike mentality and connectivity of what's going on today. The pain and sufferings they can observe, your writings, your literature, your pictures, ideas, the way you're trying to present yourself. And it really upsets me when I know darn well that people are targeting me that way, and they try to rub things in your face, which is really quite stupid and childish. Their whole, in my approach of understanding, it seems to me like a lot of the ideas that I desired, all my desires and stuff, my privacy was being invaded, and they were using all of the things of my ideas, even things I talked about in the privacy of this home and all my homes I lived here in Ohio, to best serve their own personal greed. I'm convinced. Now, you can believe what you want to believe, but time will tell. I'm going to be investigating to see what I care about the most is my copyrighted material and my trademark name. And what I mean by that, if you use a name in the entertainment industry or for any service that you provide, when you use your name very publicly, all you have to do is go into the trademark office, look into it, see which service mark number best suits for what it is you do, how you promote your name. For me, it's in class 41, live entertainment, and class 009, which is music, MP3 downloads, etc. They even have it for the internet, etc., etc. So use caution when using a name. You want to get something that's unique, or your own birth name in its entirety. And that way, you're kind of protecting yourself in many ways, actually, in the legal way. Here in the United States, you are protecting yourself. I could have either used Tracilyn Michael, for instance, which is my actual birth certificate name, or I went with Tracilyn. Shoot, if I stayed with my birth name, probably would have made things a little bit more simple. Because nobody can stop you using your birth name, okay? It's your birth name. Words are powerful, your birth name. Think of that. Sometimes there's a lot less hassle in that. And if somebody else would come along and they said, well, I want to be Tracilyn Michael, the bottom line is they would have to prove in the court of law that they were legally Tracilyn Michael. There's a lot of legal battle stuff. Most people don't want involved in that. But nevertheless, you have to realize that these are things that you need to consider. Copyright your content, trademark names, and away you go. And why is that? Because I've learned in the music industry they are very highly corrupted. And when they see somebody in the making or creating something in a very small form, they want in on it. And they don't care about you, but they care about what it is that you do. In other words, when somebody is invading your privacy and they see what it is you're doing, their mind says, I could use that even better over here with somebody else. Know that this is true, I'm sure. I am certain I would verify it. I aim not to be like that. I really do try to separate myself, especially from mainstream stuff of what's going on, so I can be more in the natural of honesty, in the nature of honesty, and really do what it is that I desire to do. Music, you know, the way that I desire from up here. My heart and my mind, you know? And I think I stand a higher rate of being very unique, you know, in my writings. You notice that, what I mean. I'll discuss that because maybe you don't follow policy and procedure of like what is taught in NSAI groups or in the standard of the music industry. You start doing something that's more tailored to your law of attraction. And certain words that you might use might not be used in music traditionally, but they're used in yours, and all of a sudden, when you release your writings, even in the privacy of your home, somebody who's looking in on it may have an idea that I could use that too, before you do, in a very dominant means. Oh, we'll get into this later on. A lot of you can go onto my website and you can see some ideas of things that I've noticed. One of my biggest things was Ragtop Cadillac. It took me 2009 to 2010-ish to coming up now, this year, to finally record it the way the song should be recorded. I believe I met a very corrupted person in the industry. I don't know if it has to do, in my opinion, I don't know if it has to do with Elvis Enterprise or not. I get tired of talking about it. Protect your art. And know other people always want something for nothing. Don't let them have it. Okay, we're gonna walk around here really quick. I want to show you Kathrine's apartment, not the inside. I wish I could go inside and show you. That would make me happy. If somebody who lives here, I don't want to say the address online, or say it, I don't want to say it here in the video. But I'll tell you the name of the apartment complex. I would like to see the inside, if it's ever possible. I wish Kathrine still if she visits Dayton. What I want to say here quick is by the time it was finally time for me to move out, I knew it, Kathrine knew it, Daddy knew it. It was time for me to move into the new house in Huber Heights, where I did a lot of videos and had a lot of occurrences happen. It's the house that I would say, Xenia was a house that showed me my inner spirit class. I love window views, beautiful scenery, $1 million home, baby. I like that. Yeah, and it looks like it. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. Can I tell you, I've learned in Huber Heights that it was hard for me, like it was at the time for him, to separate from that home. I would have loved to live in that, but what I've come to learn is Huber Heights home, that's my childhood home here in Dayton. You see my childhood church, that's my childhood home, and my hope is that the people who live there always, in the future, meaning no matter who lives there, they really value and appreciate it, and I'm sure they do, or they wouldn't live there. I loved it. I wish that I could have had the means myself to keep it. I remember joking on the back porch when I said, somehow, some way, God's going to provide the house beside it and the house over the neighbor's house. We're going to own all 3 of them and have home ministry and rock and roll. How? I don't know how. And that's exactly what I said, and it was bold for me to say that. And, you know, it kind of looks like that's not going to be. So, but anyway, it would have been nice to be able to landscape the home, rebuild the home, remodel it, and make it more personal, and fill it with love. I realize that now because it's really about the details of your life. It's what I'm learning. Details of your life. Circumstances. Don't let anybody tell you any different. It's the detailed circumstances. The best way in a lot of situations, maybe you don't want to overanalyze things, but what I'm learning is when somebody suggests something, what are the detailed circumstances? And then take time to think about it before you give an answer. If it's something that you have to rush now, you got to do it now. I don't want you to miss out on anything, but the truth of the matter is, it's going to be over as fast as it starts. Okay. People like to pull the mat out from under other people. Why they're like that, I have no idea. They don't get what they want. They like to show you who's boss. Egos. Personality issues. Have they been hurt? Get over self and stop being so damn mean. Okay. I had lots of fears, and the biggest fear is how am I going to eat? Where am I going to get money? Can you get a job? Well, let me tell you, there's no way in hell I could have worked. Major depression. A lot of Joyce Meyers, a lot of online ministries, a lot of book reading. I was buying a lot of Joyce Meyers audio CDs. I was listening to them whenever I would go to K's in Columbus to get electrolysis and laser treatments. Daddy was providing to help me get through my transition, electrolysis. I went to a lady here, I won't mention her name, in Dayton, and she used a different technique of electrology, and she actually put a mark on my face. That was the result. And you don't have to believe it, it really is. That's what happened anyway after it. So was it just something that ignited something else that was going on? I don't want to mention her name, but I remember where I was when it happened. I explained to Daddy. Daddy found out through other girls. He was always digging for researching ways to aid me. He wanted to comfort me. He wanted me to have the very best life that he could provide for me in many ways. So I went to K, got laser, electrolysis, we go to girls' night out and urinot parties in Columbus. In this car, I would listen to a lot of Joyce Meyers. I was always getting content. I really believed in a lot of her teachings, thinking it was going to be very, very beneficial to my life. And the only thing that I can say right now is it mentally believing that kept me alive. So I guess if that's what I got out of it, then I guess it's pretty good, right? Because I love my life. I don't like my circumstances necessarily, the details. But I definitely love Tracilyn. I wrote a lot of songs. Over 30, approximately. I shared a lot of that with Daddy. A lot of it was shared. I guess I should have been cleared, but how do you be clear to somebody who has your destiny in their hands? Be very careful of what you share with other people. Okay? Some people luck out and they're okay. Some people don't matter. It doesn't matter. I love sharing with Daddy. I didn't really care so much with him sharing the details of my life with other people. But that's who he was, that's what he was, and now I'm getting my turn. I share the details of my life this way. You did it through emails with my songs. In my life, what I was going through. And he used to write to ministries, or his ministry was an outreach for the local prisons, and prisons in general, various prisons. And he used to share updates about my life, and I was okay with that, okay? Just know this, I was okay with that. No, I wasn't. Yes, I was. I had confused feelings. What do you think? Should have I been okay with it? He was helping me? Does that give him the right to share my struggles with the rest of the world? Well, now I get my turn. Always remember that. For the rest of my life, I get my turn. Don't tell me to take nothing down, because it's not going to happen. I couldn't stop you from doing what you did. I love you, and I'll try to be respectful. I believe you were respectful for me. Thank you for helping me to be strong. I want you to know something. I used to watch a lot of movies. One of my favorite movies when I was on the road as an escort was Pretty Woman. And I used to have a fantasy about going out to LA or somewhere, maybe even around here. How about that? I'm a Dayton, Ohio gal. And role-playing it. Some of the scenes, not all of them. Sometime, but not all the time. My daddy taught me how to eat. Table etiquette. I don't want to blame table manners. I don't want to blame the way I eat on him now, because I fought that too. I felt like he was trying to make me something. Not that I wasn't. Maybe I wasn't ready. And I would value it and appreciate it more now. Dinner at Susie's. For anybody who was there, thank you. Thank you for being a part. Thank you for sharing meals and playing dress up. I'd give anything for those days today. With people, in general. Pretty Woman was one of my biggest movies. I remember watching it up north, and I was on the phone and I was crying my eyes out. Work was not too good for me at that time. And he used to be the voice that would tell me that, much like the movie, somebody's going to really love me. Was he referring to myself? We should all love ourselves like that, right? Let's pick ourselves up. And let's dress up for ourselves, right? Let's do what we can for ourselves. The best we can. I was addicted to photos of myself in my panties and naked and lingerie, whatever I could get my hands on. I was obsessed. For everyone who saw that and didn't appreciate it, I'd like to say I'm sorry, because I am a little bit, but it was a long overdue season of going through many, many years in my life wanting to wear little girly clothing, wanting to go to a prom, wanting to date the football players at the time, longing to be a cheerleader that everybody wanted. Meeting Savannah at 21, knowing in my mind I would give anything to be like her. Not her, like, in many ways. Acknowledging a few years later, many years later really, that I can be who I am. There is no standard. The standard is be true to your heart. Dress the way you want to dress. We have dress codes we all got to kind of follow a little bit, right? Run down the street naked? Don't do it. Don't. If you do it, let me see it. Record it. No, don't. Don't do it. Maybe unless you're a little one and you're running from your parent. No, don't do it. They'll tell you I encouraged you to do it. Don't. Now here's the thing, check this out. I was addicted to those pictures, and when I would post them online with my Tracilyn Michael accounts, I took them down because I didn't want to keep a perception out there that that's all I am. What should ministry look like? And I'll tell you, at that time, they say don't use names, but I'm going to tell you. Joyce Myers was a huge inspiration to me. At 21, I met Savannah. Do you know who that is? She was an adult entertainer, actress. Some people called her a stripper. I met her at Out Diamond Cabaret. She had a very childlike spirit, pleasant smile, long blonde hair, smooth. Very exotic. I never forgot that. And so I became who I was, which many people would say is nothing in comparison. And other people would say, well, you did pretty good, considering what you once were, or what the world says you have to be. And when I came out here at this house, I couldn't let go of that. I'm an entertainer, and I became addicted to money when the time was right with the right men. I like to be the center of attention. I did. Felt good. Be pampered. To pamper myself. I still love and I still want to dress exotic. Maybe more in a conservative, Midwestern-y way. It's more appropriate and can kind of ease the tension with the general public. And right now at this point, the more that you watch someone, you listen to someone, you're being fed by someone through words, through writings, video, their ways. You're observing every little tiny move. And there's something within that you start desiring to be more like. Approved by people in general. You know, when I watched her program, considering I really did have a heart for God, and when I was in a hotel, I was always reading the Bible, always praying. I always knew that I wanted to be with a godly man. I really did. A godly person is what I'm realizing. Am I settling for different? I wanted to be with a godly person. And it had a presentation similar to that of which I desired in a rock and roll ministry, was to do music and be with someone very special that was very supportive and maybe played a very, very crucial and important, valuable role in a partnership to make not only my desires a reality, but hopefully their desires were also becoming fulfilled as well. Together, sharing life together. And I gotta admit, with me loving the music that I do, the passion, live entertainment, the way that it's in my head though, it was a very good example of similarities. Is it okay to say that? Not identical, but similar. And it was an inspiration into my dress code that Daddy was helping me to become. I wish I could have arrived quicker, but I couldn't let go of the way my condition of my thought process was. So I didn't feel like I had to be slutty, if that's what people want to call it. I didn't have to be so revealing in the general public. I learned I love to wear hats. Variety. I love to wear boots. Not now, maybe. And flats. While watching her, I'm not saying she wore these things, but I see in more of a classy appeal that I wanted to hopefully present someday. I also love people who are passionate. Too many, maybe they perceive them as being crazy or lunatics, obsessed. And funny. Demanding. A very courageous and strong, confident presentation. Like a spiritual mother through the television set, through the computer screen. Can I tell you, I don't want to say this, but for a long season of time, 2012, until now, I realized that I was foolish by becoming so saturated in her programs that I applied the teachings into my life. And I was expecting to have some kind of results, and what those results were, I can't tell you for sure, if I even know the definites. But for a long time now, I've been screaming because in my mind I hold the fact that I fell victim to falling into agreement with others in general, applying what they talk about into my life and not getting the results that I desired. And once you hear me explain about this subject, you may or may not agree, but I think it's important that we all know that just because somebody is on the television or on a CD, they're writing books. Supposedly they're writing books. We don't know if they're really writing the books. Let us hope they are. That falling into agreement with somebody else's way of thinking may never ever note what we need for where our thought process is today. You're going to find out that I was a student of various teachers via media of all kinds, going to churches. And I will tell you, it was though their hands were carrying me. That's why I said down there as support. But I learned I would have made my choices much differently if I was listening to what I call intelligence. That would have guided me into first acknowledging my heart is in the middle of my mind. And you'll get this through this Ohio generalized life story. So you gotta hear it before you judge. Know that that's where I was here. I'm not saying that's where I am now. It's where I was here. Huge Joyce Meyers fan. And other people as well. We'll get into that. I was living with Kathrine, a transsexual female. She'd been to Alaska. She mentioned about moving back to Alaska because Dayton, Ohio just wasn't providing the needs that she really desired. I understood because I wanted to live in California in a beautiful dream home, being close to the beach, being a pampered little princess. And I was here. Forgive me, Dayton, if it offends you. My honesty, that is. Because it seems to me that I should have never left. I'm here today. Okay, I'm going to close this and put this in here. I didn't get to do exactly what I wanted, but I mentioned about bedridden. I was bedridden. I spend all of my time on the bed at Kathrine's. A majority of the time. I tried to get up so I wouldn't stink and get ready. We would go out to various places. She was a hell of a person. Very gentle spirit. Funny, witty. And it would have been nice if we could have still stayed remaining friends. I hope she got through her transition. I would love to hear that she did. The thing that kind of hurts right now, here I stand 9 years later, and that's why you want to blame somebody, right? Like Joyce, or somebody. I never got my SRS. The world wouldn't let me work for it, and I insisted I want the best. You know how Harley Davidson's pretty cool, right? I used to do parties for Harley Davidson. Big events, Harley events. Music. I played in front of a lot of people. Most of the time by myself, sometimes people would accompany me. they had a lot of nice motorcycles, a lot of nice people. But can I tell you, I used to watch Orange County Chopper, and I love people with passion, uniqueness, fire for what they love. Custom designed motorcycles, Orange County Chopper. A lot of tension, like things being thrown around. A lot of heat. I don't really care for the drama, or not that that is. Gotta be careful what I say. They're much bigger than I. One of my fantasies was to do an exotic, even if it's just private, an exotic photo shoot on an Orange County Chopper, maybe one that's specially made. Somebody, maybe you have an Orange County Chopper that was made, and you would be okay with a transsexual person or a human being modeling on it. I always wanted to do one of my fantasies is to do a professional photo shoot with the best of everything in an Orange County Chopper. I'm kind of thinking I would like to do it on my 50th birthday, somewhere around there. Give me time to heal, maybe network and meet people that might actually have an Orange County Chopper and say, we could do it now. But I'm not tan. I don't know what I would wear. You know, stuff like that. My hair's not blonde enough. I need to trim. I need to stop crying. You know. That was me. I really loved glamorous people. In the 80s, I just loved glamorous. I wanted to be glamorous. I'm guilty. I wanted to be glamorous. It's inside of me. Classy, glamorous. Also a very gentle, loving, caring, godly spirit with godly morals. Somebody who's willing to pray for a complete stranger. I love children a lot. As well. So, bedridden. I can't get my ass out of bed. You know why? What am I going to do about money? What happens if Daddy doesn't want me living with him anymore because I'm not willing to be in detail what he wants Tracilyn to be? What if Kathrine and I's relationship is starting to melt and I gotta leave? Where am I gonna go? I don't want to be homeless. Please don't let me be homeless. And here's the thing, I had to become, can I tell you, a submissive bitch in many ways, where I realized I cannot just voice like I just did. Because of people's perception, I gotta be careful. And there were times, you will find out, that I spoke very gently, and I had people launch up out of the seat they were in, on firely mad at me for saying what I said. What a horrible place for someone to be. You want to talk about breaking your spirit, and the truth of the matter is, when I was here, one of the things I wanted to do that I was thinking of is I already started thinking, if it doesn't work out and California is a long ways away, I don't know anybody or where to stay, maybe I could relocate down to Nashville, Tennessee. How would I do that? How would you relocate to Nashville, Tennessee if you don't have money, no means, or no means? Would you just be homeless? I don't want to be homeless. And I don't want to escort anymore. And I have learned that even good cops, okay, at times can be extremely corrupted. Okay. I was traumatized. I want to live in a world that is kicking my ass. All because I couldn't live a worldly self anymore. In my head, when you go to church, because it's psychologically understood, or they should not legally be allowed to teach the word of the Holy Bible. They shouldn't be allowed to teach at all. You are going from a worldly self into the fruits and the Spirit of Jesus Christ, which is a very loving, caring, kind, forgiving, graceful, merciful Spirit. And I'm here to tell you, the world around you will kick your ass. By law, you should have to be warned when walking into a church. Caution, you're going to need a support system, which most likely will entail finances if you become engripped into the transitional process. And eventually you might understand what I mean by that. But speakers know exactly what I'm talking about. You need to start being held accountable for what it is that you say. And when you transition somebody from a worldly self to a spiritual self, you know you speak that way, then you're held responsible to make sure that they don't die in the process of it. And I can't tell you how many ministries I reached out to, and I still, to this day, didn't know social workers what I needed. I might have been talking to a lady I call Heidi. Hi, Heidi. And I explained to her my fears. I think I might have been here. I don't want to go back to living with my sister. I don't want to go back to just living with Zod. I want to be his best friend, maybe his potential more, but I don't want to be dependent on somebody taking care of my needs. She never told me what to do, really. Good listener. Pretty. Gave me a book. I read it. It inspired me. What about money? My own home. How? Well, if our government would have educated me properly, I would have known exactly what to do. Social worker, county office, apply for assistance. Depends where you're at. Is it a disability mentally? If you've got major depression, there you go. If you're bipolar, personality disorder, there's all kinds of things. There you go. Go. I'm telling you. Are you majorly depressed right now? I mean, seriously, are you majorly depressed? You don't know what to do. You're suicidal? Check yourself into a hospital. Tell them to diagnose you now. You need a social worker now. And if they ask you to leave at any point, sue them. There's many of them I should have sued. The world can keep you busy in lawsuits. I need a good lawyer. One who's all right with me. I have all kinds of reasons to sue people. How about they're just damn right fucking mean? There's no reason why in 2008 when I went to a hospital that I should still be homeless or what the world says, prostituting myself to stay alive. By the way, I take that offensively because any time that you do something against the grain of your heart, according to scripture, that's when you're a prostitute, which means we're all prostitutes at one time or another, maybe every day or every hour. We do things against what we would really like to do. And therefore, that's what a prostitution is. A prostitute. The law says it's exchanging agreement for sex. For money. Now that's an agreement. I'll do this for that. Well, there's many ways you could have agreement. Well, we'll get into it sometime, maybe. I'd rather not talk about it right now. With that being said, 2010, what do you think? Wrote a lot of songs. Now, Kathrine is probably getting tired of Tracilyn being here. You hear me talking, rambling on. Enough, Tracilyn. I'm sorry, Kathrine. I was hurt. And I love to whine a lot. Whine, whine, whine. We laughed a lot too. So let's put this away, and then I'm ready to go around the building really quick and say adios. Or go home. Maybe I'll get a pizza. It's still challenging for me, you know? This great God that preachers talk about, like Joel Osteen. You'd like for what he preaches to be a reality. The problem is he preaches Santa Claus. He'll get you to smile. Big. And man, you feel like a jackass at times. You need to listen to some of what Tracilyn's saying. You may be in the web right now of listening to other people preach. There's a good chance that they're now teaching over the last few years what Tracilyn has been talking about with the heart's desires. I don't watch them anymore. I will not fall in agreement with others. Not like that. I'm learning. I know what I need to know. The thing is I have been being observed, and I find out, and I have learned that there's a good chance that even huge pastors in the world's eyes with big ministries have access to invading the privacy of others for observation reasons in order to write books and for their sermons. What do you think? Am I crazy? Well, listen to my words. Listen to my life story and see how much of it has manifested outwardly in other ministry outreaches, in other musicians. Let's look at somebody's like, was that Bon Jovi's stage prop? Cadillac? Is that what it was? Or talk about some other things. I'm just suggesting that possibly. I'm not claiming that it's true, of course, because then they would try to use their ability to what? Inflict more pain on me, because that's the way assholes are.